And here we are.
You went live.
I had to get it going.
All right.
What's up, everybody? We have had some technical difficulties without our captain, Ian Cameron. He's on the road traveling. And Alex, we're hoping to be shortly with us, but Andrew and I are here. We hope you can find us here. Andrew, we got that link out there?
Yeah, we got the link out there. We got it in the YouTube chat for the Ice Guys stuff. So, like you said, our Hart Trophy nominee is on the road right now, and we thought we had it all planned out. I feel bad. Like I feel like I wish I could do something more, but it's just how it is these days, guys. When you're logging into Gmail or anything, you need to go through like it seems like 10 security purposes and I don't know the name of the dog, the first dog that the guy owns Hockey Podcast Network had, or the street he grew up on, or his wife's maiden name. I don't know any of that stuff. So unfortunately, Jimmy, we can't get in because I don't know anything about these passwords and security stuff. But we have a bunch of games to get to.
We do.
We'll race through them. Hopefully, we'll get Alex to join us a little bit. But we have an interesting one to start. We'll go down in the order we usually do. Hopefully, we can get some guys here in the comment section. Hats off to you, Jimmy, for setting this up really quick. But happy to have people with us. Hopefully, starting to pile in. But Tampa and Boston. We'll start in order here. Obviously, taking a look here, we have a 5.5 as the total here, and it's a pick'em game here. It's -110 apiece. I was kind of expecting after I saw your tweet, Jimmy, about Bergeron not playing tonight, we would see some money start to pile in on Tampa. We actually haven't seen that quite yet. But even before I saw the Bergeron news, I liked Tampa Bay in this spot. I think it was kind of just like a scheduling thing for me as I've made a lot of my handicapping moves recently. What are your thoughts here in this one?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, I look at this and look, a couple times the Bruins have burned me here and surprised me, but I'm just going with the trends we do when it comes to scheduling spots. And this just looks like a good spot for the Tampa Bay Lightning right now for a variety of reasons. I mean, you mentioned Bergeron being out, so obviously that hurts the Bruins big time. I know they were able to squeak out a win 3-2 in overtime against the Canadians with Jack Studnicka in Bergey's place there. But, I look at this situationally right now as well because Tampa's coming in. They haven't been playing that great overall this month. They're coming in on a 2-game losing streak. And John Cooper's been giving it to him in practice, I imagine. And then the Bruins are coming in feeling really high on themselves. They just come in off a 4-game road trip when they went 3-1. During that road trip, they acquired Hampus Lindholm, probably the most coveted defenseman on the NHL trade market before the NHL trade deadline. I guess Jacob Chikrin would be there, but he was really kind of off the market, right? Once he got hurt. So they're feeling high on themselves, and then they steal one from the Canadians. It's always big. It doesn't matter where they are in the standings. That's an emotional game. And they come in now. Jeremy Swayman's playing great. The city's embracing him. And I think this is a little head expander type situation for the Bruins. I think the news clips are going to get to them right now. I think that they're going to feel a little too comfortable coming into this. And you got a Tampa team who's hungry to get back on track. And I think knows too the value of the points in the standings here. I mean, this is huge. If the Bruins win, they leapfrog the Lightning, and they also would move into a tie for 5th place in the Eastern Conference with the Rangers because the Rangers are idle, and it actually would have gone into 4th. They'll have the same record as the Rangers and the Leafs, but the Leafs have played one less game, so they'll remain in 4th if that happens. But this game has a lot of ramifications in the playoff race in the East, so I think that there should be a little more money going in on Tampa. I think people are underestimating them right now. I'm going to take Tampa Bay on the money line here, but I also like this one to go to extra time maybe too. So as it get closer, I might like a draw here.
Yeah, everything you just said, I'm right there with you. And that expression that I started using, I got it from Marco, a coworker and co-founder of Wager Talk. Fat and sassy, he calls it, Jimmy. And it's kind of an old-fashioned handicapping expression, but it makes sense, and that's probably what Boston is right now, feeling good about themselves. And it's right? Yeah. And Tampa Bay off 2 losses. And how often do we really see that? We like to back Tampa Bay off 1 loss in general, let alone off back-to-back losses. And I'll tell you, Jimmy, I'm looking forward to being at the Bell Center for the makeup game, Bruins and Habs, on the 24th, I believe.
Yeah.
And I was watching that game.
I think I'm going to be up there.
Really? Sunday night? Is it
Yep.
oh, sweet,
Oh, yeah.
man. We'll
When are
have
you
to
getting
meet
up
up.
there, on the Saturday or what?
Yeah, Saturday morning we're arriving and leave
Okay.
Monday night.
We'll hook up for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, for sure. So I was watching that game in Vegas, actually, the Boston and Montreal one. And I was just like, man, I'm happy to see a good game. But I was like, you guys should save the good game for when I'm there, 2-1 or overtime or 3-2. Like, that
Yeah.
was awesome. But
Houston
yeah, I'm right there
Texans.
with you. And I'm surprised there's not more money coming in on Tampa. And I just think it really sets up perfectly here. 7-3 last 10 games for the Bruins. They've been all over the map. And obviously Tampa Bay off 2 losses. So anything for you on the total in this one? I would lean towards the over, but not much for me on this one.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, I look at the way though. I was kind of thinking more under, but 5.5 scares me. So
Mm,
I'm sort of like afraid of it for the opposite reason. I if there was a 6 out there that I could find, I haven't seen one. I would do the under 6, but I'm just going to veer away from that. But I mean, you got to think we're going to have a goaltenders battle. These are two of the best goalies in
yeah.
the NHL right now. I mean, Swayman is clearly jumped back into the Calder race here. So, and you got Vasilevsky, who's the best goalie on the planet. So, it could have a goaltenders duel. I could definitely see a 3-2 game in overtime or in regulation. But then again, I could see 4-3. You never know.
Yeah, it's always. I just got a feeling whenever Tampa Bay snaps out of it, whenever it's a 1-game loss or 2-game losing streak or whatever it really is for them, they kind of do it in you know exciting fashion. I think both teams can trade goals tonight. Just a huge shout out to everybody tuning in here live with us. Make sure you comment, let us know you're here. Spread the word, tweet it out a little bit, hit the like button. We'll try and get this video, or at least be back tomorrow on the Ice Guys YouTube page. We were just locked out a little bit. We'll
Mhm.
try and race down this busy card. So Florida and Montreal is our next game up. This one, unfortunately, is not a pick'em game. This is this is a little bit more of a favorite here. We got minus 290 at Bet365. I'm looking at Pinnacle plus 270, and at DraftKings, of course, our Hockey Podcast Network sponsor, around minus 265 for the Florida Panthers here. Look, the Florida Panthers are a team that I actually got to see them in Vegas. I was super excited to see them my first night there, Jimmy. And that was my first time in my life watching the Panthers play. And they're just talent filled. I mean, they add more talent with Giroux. They have a good defensive core, puck moving defensive core. To me, there's not a line that they have that I can't watch and think they might make something dangerous happen. You
Yeah.
add in the mobile defenseman, the way they push the puck up the ice. I mean, the first 5 minutes of that Vegas game, it felt like it had as much action as some games I've seen in a whole period.
Mhm.
And there's just so much going on here. And I was saying to somebody earlier that as a Montreal Canadiens fan, obviously hasn't been a great season. They've turned things around a little bit and made it more exciting for the fans, but at least I've been able to make some money off overs with that team. I haven't faded them probably as much as I should.
Mm.
I'm not as good as you at being unbiased, so that's why I stay off the sides. But I bet a lot of overs with the Canadiens, and I have a hard time thinking it might not be the same case here. Looking at some recent games for both Florida, for Montreal, the amount of goals these teams allow, and especially I find with Montreal off a good defensive performance, it's hard to follow up with the exact same thing. And you were at the game against the Bruins there. I'm sure you can attest that in that game alone, they played well defensively, but obviously they come out in the loser column there. But I think the over is the play in this one when the Habs and Panthers meet. With the last time they met, I thought it was a pretty exciting game as well. What do you think here?
You know what? I'm going the other way, completely the other way here. And I'll tell you this, it's because I've been watching Montreal so much lately. And I look at that last game. And what I see right now is a team that all of a sudden looks behind them and knows they have an NHL caliber goalie.
Hmm.
And that NHL caliber goalie and Jake Allen the other night single-handedly almost won that game for them. They had no offense going. They had nothing at all. And the reason being is I saw them playing a lot different than they have for the majority of the time under Marty St. Louis. They were more in the prevent mode as opposed to attack. And they were just kind of saying, look, we're going to play it tight. We're going to hope for our breaks, but we know we got a guy behind us that can bail us out right now. So we're not going to be as forward thinking as we usually are. There was a weird mentality switch there, and I didn't like it for the Canadians, and it's too bad because they've been so exciting to watch since St. Louis took over because of the attack style they were playing. I think they're going to go on a little scoring drought right now, and that's why I'm going the other way and going under.
Okay.
I also like the way Spencer Knight has bounced back recently. I think he's due for a big game here as well. I definitely think the Panthers win. The only thing what I do would be Jimmy puck line, but my only play on this will be the under 6.5.
All right, so we're 2 games in. We're 1 for 1 as far as going head to head. Hey, we can't have a show without we unfortunately on a 13 game slate or 10 games, we're not going to agree on all of them. But I'll tell you what, Jimmy, I know you're covering the Habs a lot, doing a lot of work with them, and I believe that what you're saying is not taking any credit away from what Montembeault has done. It's just the hard truth about how Jake Allen's experience and what he brings to the team, because he did so much for the Habs last year before their cup run when Price was injured, and he's just an outstanding goaltender. And that was, if you look at how great Price is, if Jake Allen was on any other team last year, he gets even more credit. But you're in the shadow of a guy like Carey Price, and it's hard to get that much credit once you see Price come back. But I think Montembeault, if you would have told him at the start of the year that he would be playing as many games as he did, he would have probably laughed at us, with how many games he played with no Price and no Allen. But like you said, it's just different. And the poise that Allen has in between the pipes is just something a little bit different than what we've seen so far this year.
And then I see somebody over there saying, look, that the Canadians could be a sneaky play. Be careful, because another reason you got to look at the Panthers and think they might win too is this is the first game for Claude Giroux and Ben Chiarot. So these two big trade acquisitions are jumping into the lineup there, and they're juiced up. I mean, that lineup is juiced up right now. That locker room is excited to have those guys join this team. So I just think the Panthers are going to come out flying. I'd be tempted to take the over in the first period. I could see them jumping out to a 2-0 lead easily.
It's kind of a cliche, Jimmy, you hear a lot, but do you believe and buy into the fact that it takes a game or two for teams to get that chemistry? I mean, to me, I kind of buy into that if you're a middle of the pack team, but if you're so talented like these guys, I don't think it really takes much time. You've got so much skill. They'll find that chemistry pretty quick. Do you agree with that?
I think it depends on each type of player, right? I mean, I look at a guy like Ben Chiarot. He's nothing flashy. He's a steady guy. He's dependable. So he's not going to come in and try and make the pinch when it's not there, or activate the offense when he doesn't have the chance to do so. He's not going to rush anything. I look at him. He's going to come in and keep it simple. And then Claude Giroux, well, obviously he's more offensive. But what I think here is, he's a leader. He's been a captain, and he's experienced, and he knows the game, and he was a captain for a reason. And that's because he can control his emotions. So I think it'll be a sort of a smooth transition right away into the lineup for these guys.
I think it'll be kind of interesting seeing Claude Giroux not have to be the guy like he was on Philly right now this season. Like he's not someone that's going to be leaned on as heavily. Just come in, you have that experience, do your job, And he's someone that's such a cool trade deadline pickup, because when you go into the playoffs, that's somebody you want to have, So look forward to that game. I'll be watching regardless. I'll be watching the game and look forward to it. Let's talk about the Dallas Stars here and the Carolina Hurricanes. Dallas plus 180, 175 here on the highway in Raleigh, taking on Carolina. They're minus 220 now. That number, Jimmy, opened up at minus 175. It's been shot up completely here. Everyone seems to like Carolina here. Dallas has won 2 straight games, and those games were against Edmonton and Washington here. Of course, Carolina coming off that win that was pretty exciting against the Tampa Bay Lightning, where they won 3-2 there. But before that, they lost 5 straight. So is this a spot here where Carolina picks up some steam, gets back on track, and gathers a few wins together? Or does Dallas continue to play spoiler and get the job done? I did see that this is one of those interesting spots here where if you like the under, there are 6s available. If you like the over, there are 5.5s available as well. So you can certainly shop around or try and get the best number you possibly can here. But what are your thoughts on this one?
I think this is another one similar to the Bruins Tampa Bay Lightning. A good situation, I think, for the Dallas Stars. Carolina Hurricanes come in off what I felt like had the temperature of a playoff game, and they won that. It was a very emotional win. A lot of tough, rough stuff going on in that game, and crowd was into it. It's a tough game to turn around and try and come in and want that emotion level to be there. And in Dallas, let's face it, you look at Dallas on the schedule there, you're not really threatened, you're not intimidated. You don't think you're coming in for an exciting game. Mm-hmm. It's likely going to be a defensive-minded, boring type game, usually with the Dallas Stars. So I think it's a good situation for the underdogs here. I'm going to take them as a live dog right now. I'm looking at plus 190 for the Dallas Stars.
Love it. The dogs are barking here. And you could argue that as much as sometimes I hate saying this game certainly means more to the Dallas Stars. You know, you talk about the situational spot, the scheduling spot.
Yep.
As far as this playoff hunt, playoff positioning here, we both know Carolina is going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be in a great spot for the playoffs. And they're coming off that exciting win. And to me, it's exactly your point where I like Tampa Bay. They're coming off that loss to Carolina. And I might be hesitant here looking at Carolina coming off that exciting win against Tampa. Albeit, like I did mention, though, Jimmy, they did lose 5 games prior to that win against Tampa. So they potentially do want to get going. But with Carolina here, one thing I wanted to mention, they've played Pittsburgh, Toronto, Washington, New York, and Tampa Bay in their last 6 games. Or 5 or 6 games. So, I mean, it's been really, really competitive for them recently. They've been very battle tested. And that's something that I look for as well. And I think that it's a good spot for Dallas. You're getting a great plus price here. And I actually think a good sneaky play in this one, Jimmy, could be the first period over. Shout out to Alex B. Smith on this one. I know he likes the first period overs. And I think this could be one of those spots where, like you said, you come in here, you're off an exciting win over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Great Eastern Conference battle there. Now you take a hungry Dallas Stars team off 2 wins themselves. I think we can get 2 goals in the first period here. And when you have these 5.5s, Jimmy, you get great prices on the first periods. You know, 6s and 6.5s are more common for totals these days. And when you have a 6 or 6.5, the first period over is like 140, 150, 160. But with this now, it's like minus 120 here to get 2 goals in the first period.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you right now. I think that's very tempting as well. Actually, I'm going to jump on that. You sold me on that. Give me that over in the first period as well. Yeah, this game I just think has the potential to go different ways than a lot of people think. I think that it's one of these games that if you're breezing through and you're not taking the time to really research and look into the intricacies of it, you're going to make a mistake here. So if you bet in this game, look at all the different scenarios surrounding it in the recent form. I just think, like we said, it's a situational spot like the Lightning have with the Bruins.
Yeah, Jimmy, you have no idea how many times I see on Twitter or I'll get people messaging me, be like, man, Colorado costed me my money line parlay and I had the minus 400. It's like, well, why were they even on your parlay if they're a minus 400? Exactly. And this isn't a minus 400, but it's still like a minus, close to 200 here. And as we're both saying, they're not really worthy of that tonight.
No, they're not. And it could very well screw up your parlay. And plus, why would you want to drag the value down that much on a parlay? The whole point of a parlay is to hit the jackpot, basically,
Yeah.
So what are you going to win there? You bet like 100 to win like 180 or something. Like it makes no sense. So I'm with you on that.
It's just not really a good piece. Like people always say, like, oh, I need one more leg to add. I'm going to add this minus 320. And that's the one that loses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the one that gets upset. Our next game here, Jimmy, with Detroit and New York. I'll be honest, man. I don't have much on this one. It's a big slate today.
Yeah, it's a Jimmy pass for me too.
You're off it here. Let's jump into our next one with the Philadelphia Flyers and the St. Louis Blues. The Blues are minus 260 from what I'm seeing, 250, 260. Philadelphia around plus 215, 210 on the road here. Obviously, we just talked about Giroux, leaving the team and moving to Florida here. And Philadelphia is a team that I would describe as a team that's, they haven't given up. They still compete. And I've actually seen them be kind of an under team recently. They've played pretty good defense. But when they do that, they don't really, it's kind of like what you were saying about Montreal earlier. When you focus so much in on defense and you're so hesitant to play well offensively, I feel like that really damages a team's offensive capability. And that's kind of what I see with this Philadelphia Flyer team. The problem is they're playing a St. Louis Blues team that ranks so high in goals per game, ranks so high in power play percentage. That's the thing that kind of worries me here in this one. I don't like the regulation really that much. I don't like the puck line with St. Louis. I have a slight lean to the under in this game. I think we could see St. Louis win a low-scoring game.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I look at this right now. I got a feeling about St. Louis going on a little run right now. I just think they made some great additions. Nobody's really talking about them. And this is the time of year when they usually get hot. So I'm going to go with the Jimmy Puck line, even though it's even money and I'm not getting the best value. I think it's an easy 2-goal win, if not more, for the St. Louis Blues. The Flyers are just going to bottom out. And look, I mean, if the Flyers play their cards right, they're going to get a chance at Shane Wright. So,
Yeah.
They're not going to be as balls against the wall as we have seen them at sometimes, because they have played hard in a lot of games, even when they lose.
And a lot of people say, like, after the trade deadline in both NBA handicapping and the NHL, you can really find those teams that you shouldn't have a problem fading consistently. And for me, sometimes I have a problem doing that. Like, I don't know why. It's just something that I've always, let's say you fade a team a couple times in a row, and then you just think like, okay, well, they must get a win at some point or something like that. But I know people that in the NBA have bet against like 4 or 5 teams consistently for weeks and done well. And in the NHL, do you find that, Jimmy, post trade deadline where it's an opportunity where we could just go against the Flyers in the puck line and be profitable over the next few weeks here?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think, there's some other, we won't talk today, maybe tomorrow when we have more time. But I think there's also some teams we should identify on the flip side there who are out of it completely, that could be a pain in the ass for playoff teams and teams battling for the playoffs or playoff positioning. So we should get into that tomorrow in a show soon. But yeah, I think this is a team I'm going to fade for sure going on.
Oh, real quick. I mean, Buffalo's got to be one of those teams.
Yeah.
They're just.
I think Ottawa too.
Ottawa too. Yeah. Oh man. I watched that Vancouver Buffalo game when I was in Vegas at the sportsbook, and yeah, the Habs. Hopefully, anyway.
Yeah.
But how about Craig the Brick Wall Anderson? Man, that guy, he looks like he's in his prime right now.
Yeah, good for him. A lot of teams called on him at the deadline, so good for him.
Yeah. Vancouver and Minnesota here. Vancouver 31-26-8. Minnesota 37-20-4. Obviously, Minnesota picks up Flower at the deadline. Vancouver has just had a hectic schedule recently. They lose that game to Buffalo. We were just talking about them. Then they have a gutsy effort over Colorado. They win that one 3-1. They've been all over the map recently here, Jimmy. Minnesota, they're pumped heading into the playoffs. They've now won 3 straight games. What are you thinking here?
Well, look, I'm looking at this game actually as one of my target games to really pay attention to. I'm going to obviously have to be watching the Bruins and Canadiens a lot, but as far as another game that I want to peek into, I think this is going to be a great game. I really do. I love this game for excitement. Lots on the line for both teams. And you said it. I mean, Vancouver's kind of a Jekyll and Hyde there, but I think that they're playing good enough hockey that you still have to take them seriously every night. And you have to really, even if they're playing a team that's better than them, not rule them out right away. And I love Demko and net there. I'm going to go with them as a live dog. I love Thatcher Demko right now to go in there and steal a game. Give me the Canucks on the money line.
Love it. I think it could be a great spot for it. I think the best number you can get right now is like plus 175 there. And we were talking, Jimmy, about.
Sorry, Terry.
Yeah. Wild 5-1-1 last 7. Let's go Wild. I got to give Terry credit. The last time I was on a betcast, he said the first time I ever heard him utter these words, I might have to go against the Wild tomorrow. And they actually lost. So, I mean, hats off to you, Terry, because I had never heard him once go against
them. Team.
Yeah, but I've never heard him once go against them besides that time. So
yeah,
I should have loaded up, Jimmy. I mean, the guy that for the first time ever goes against them, I should have known. But you were talking about people like, just not going through the research and just taking a quick look at games. And I feel like that Sabres loss that Vancouver had, like I said, I watched most of that game. And sometimes for me that hockey's the kind of sport where you can run into a hot goaltender or players just can't finish. But you see all these analytical people, and you know how it is. I'm sure you see it in the media and all these different people getting jobs now with NHL and stuff with analytics, the expected goals and all that kind of stuff. And I haven't dove into it that much. But one thing I'll say is that game for Vancouver against Buffalo, and I joked around with you about Anderson there, they played a great game. Just because they didn't score that many goals, to me, doesn't matter. It doesn't dictate how a team played, and I think that really gets confused with betting handicapping, with NHL handicapping. And I think that, they were so pissed off that they didn't win that game against Buffalo. They go ahead and get it done against Colorado in a gutsy effort, 3-1 win. And I'm right there with you, Jimmy. So I'm hoping we'll both cash an underdog winner tonight. Terry's not happy with us. but I think they'll get it done here. And this is actually another play I'm leaning towards the under. And I think Minnesota is a great team, but they know come playoff time, you can't be in these track meets every game. And it seems like against teams like Vancouver, they do end up getting in these track meets. They played better defensively recently, Vegas, Chicago, and Boston. So, I mean, they've only allowed 3 goals in their last 3 games, Jimmy, for Minnesota.
Yeah, and one thing too, I want to look at the scheduling and the situation too. Normally, I would look at it and say, look, Vancouver's coming in off a game last night, an emotional win, a big win over the best team in hockey. This has letdown written all over it, but no, you know why? Ironically, their backup was the starter last night, Yaro Halak, who's been brutal this season, was unreal last night. I mean, just unreal. He looked like Yaro Halak 2010 with the Habs. I mean, it was unreal. So they're looking at it right now like this is house money. I mean, we can start Demko here. We won the game we weren't supposed to win. So we come in now. They're looking at this as house money, and I just like this spot for the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, I love when they do that. I love seeing teams kind of plan ahead with their goaltenders, and if you go ahead and get a performance like that from your backup, you can hope to get 2 wins in 2 nights. Hopefully they can do that tonight for both of us. You talked about the Senators being a team that could play spoiler down the stretch. Well, they're playing the Winnipeg Jets here. And Winnipeg is the team that I've probably had the worst read on the entire season. I don't want to speak for everybody else, but I think everybody's had a tough read on them this year, man. 30, 24, and 10. 10 points in overtime or 10 games for them. They've lost in overtime here. Look, I am with you. I think Ottawa is a team that we're going to be able to make some money on down the stretch. It feels like that's been the case for the last 3 years. And it's that teams are getting up for these games that really matter against divisional opponents. But then when they play, I guess, the bottom feeders, they might be a letdown. But for Winnipeg, you just have no idea what the hell they're going to do. But let me ask you this question, Jimmy. Is that win for Winnipeg over Vegas a good thing and props to them? Or is it just, man, Vegas is not in a good spot right now?
It's just Vegas is not in a good spot right now. And anyone could beat Vegas right now. They physically and mentally, they're just not there right now. They're in a bad spot. And I think they're it's really like they're nervous. I mean, they're like looking, oh my God, what the hell is going on here? And that's not good. So I think that teams are sensing that. It's like a shark, seeing blood in the water, and they're just pouncing on it right now. So I don't think that was that big a deal that they beat Vegas. And I look at Winnipeg, man, like you said, they're frustrating. We should have listened to Paul Maurice when he stepped down. We should have known that was a sign. Like, he's like, get me the hell out of this shitstorm. I don't know why I've bet them ever since. I mean, they're an enigma. I've never seen a team be a bigger enigma in like the last 10 years than this year's edition of the Winnipeg Jets. It's baffling. From Connor Hellebuyck out, they are just baffling.
And the irony is, from a betting standpoint, they're making people money recently because they'll cash out of nowhere as like plus 170 dogs. Right. And then they'll be minus 150 and lose by like 4 goals. That's what's crazy about this team here. When I look at Winnipeg, though, what's interesting is that they're a team like I described with kind of like Dallas last year, where they were a clear-cut under. Connor Hellebuyck, a great, huge defensive core. And now you look at some of these games they've been involved in, 6-4, 7-3, 5-2, 4-3. And Ottawa, they've had some pretty good defensive performances themselves recently. But, I mean, struggling to score against teams like Montreal, Philadelphia, and Columbus, that's what kind of worries me. I mean, they get shut out against New York, the Islanders. They score 1 goal against Montreal. They score a couple goals against Philadelphia, 1 goal against Columbus, lose to Arizona. I mean, things have been great for Ottawa recently. But again, this could be one of those games where I say all this, Jimmy, and they could go ahead and beat Winnipeg, and it wouldn't shock anybody. You know?
I'm with you on this. I mean, look, I'm going to go this way. This game to me could go either way, and that's why I'm going to bet on the draw here. I see an extra time. I think that's a fun and a very reasonable play considering the way both teams are playing. Neither team's going to roll over it. And like when we say Winnipeg's an enigma, I don't necessarily think it's a lack of effort. I think they're just lost. I literally think they haven't been able to get in sync for a consistent period of time all season. And it's just, there's something missing there. I don't think that there's this team that's just saying, screw this. We're not going to play for our coach, or we're better than we're the best and we're just going to step out there and win. I don't think it's like that. I just think they've had a lot of bad luck and they just can't seem to get in a groove. So give me the draw in this game.
All right, the draw for Jimmy. For me, I'm going to look at the +1.5 here with Ottawa. You can get that like -120. I'm not usually a +1.5 guy because the empty netters seem to always get me, and I hate that. But I think asking Ottawa to hang around is something they could do. And I can't see Winnipeg blowing another team out. And I think we could see Ottawa be pesky, and at very worst, it's a 1-goal game. So +1.5 spread line here on the puck line for the underdog is where I'm going to go here. A few more games left. We're going to talk about San Jose and Edmonton here. And I'll be very quick with this one for myself. This is a puck line that I really like tonight here, Jimmy. And I don't play a lot of puck lines. I've just never really been good at them, finding the spots with them. But I think it sets up so perfectly. Number one, Edmonton is a good team against below 500 clubs. We got a 28, 27, and 8 San Jose Shark team. Edmonton 35, 24, and 5. And one thing interesting here is we have San Jose off 2 wins. One of those wins is against Calgary. Huge upset. They were down in that game to come back. They win it. And we have this Edmonton team that just hasn't played well recently. They're at home, though. It was the Alberta double now for San Jose. They play Calgary. Now they play Edmonton here. And I think this is a game where off 2 losses against Colorado and Dallas, we see this Edmonton team wake up, get it done against more of a lower tier team, and cover the puck line. So it is not a great price. Unfortunately, I bet it +105, but I think Edmonton shows up tonight.
Yeah, and Edmonton's another team I kind of make a connection to Winnipeg, whereas they're an enigma to me as well. I'm going to stay away from this one. I don't have a really good feel on it. San Jose has surprised me a lot of times lately, so I'm just going to maybe this is something I jump in live.
All right, we'll see what happens in that one. And San Jose has been involved in some entertaining games, is what I'll say. So we'll see if Edmonton can put forward a good defensive game. Chicago and Los Angeles, the Blackhawks and the Kings head-to-head here. This one kind of made me scratch my head as well, Jimmy. We're seeing -190 for the Kings tonight in this one. We've got the Blackhawks are +170. I cashed with them last night. I had them on the team total and the money line yesterday, and no flurry with them obviously anymore. And I'll say this, this is kind of another just trade deadline theory I have for some teams like that. And when you trade away a goaltender, the secondary goaltenders always seem to step up, at least for the time being. The next couple games after the number one guy leaves, you're sitting there, you're like, well, it's my time to shine. And I know it sounds so basic, but I think it's really true. And I think it comes in fruition. What I'm going to do, Jimmy, is what I did yesterday. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. And I'm going to bet the team total over 2.5 for the Chicago Blackhawks here. I'm going to take what LA does out of the picture and just worry about Chicago getting me 3 goals. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, just one quick thing. I want to go back to the Edmonton game. Look, give me a prop on Evander Kane to score a goal against his old mates. He's clearly, obviously, still pissed off at them for everything that happened. So there's some built-in incentive there for him to light the lamp. So I got him scoring at least 1 goal at +140. As for this game, the Blackhawks and the Kings, this seems like a layup for the Kings, but then you never know. But I'm gonna go with that layup feel. Give me the Kings, Jimmy puck line at +130.
All right. Well, I hope you cover your puck line, Jimmy, but I hope I get 3 goals. So I guess that means an over.
Yeah,
because I want to get my goals from the Blackhawks. It's kind of like what Ian was playing with the Devils. I mean, how many times did he take their team total over and they still lost by like 2 or 3 goals?
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
So they're a team like that. All right, our last game here. We talked about Vegas a couple times here on this show. They're struggling. They're in a weird spot. I said their GM thought he was playing on an NHL video game when he designed their team this year. Well, we can only get into that so much. But LTIR has been an issue. Injuries have been an issue. It's easy to say it's a big game for them. They're at home tonight. They're +100. and you hate to see these hype up expressions or headlines. I know you're in the writing business, Jimmy, so you know all about headlines. It's a big game for Vegas tonight, man.
It is, and look, I don't like to beat a horse when it's down, but I'm just gonna stomp on this one right now. It's just to me, it's too easy. Give me the Nashville Predators, Jimmy Puckline on this. The Vegas Golden Knights are spiraling, and they better hope that people get healthy right now. They can't even complete a trade. They're so screwed up right now that they can't even get a trade right. So give me the Nashville Predators right now.
That is awesome. That is awesome. They can't complete a pass. They can't complete a trade. They can't get a challenge right on the ice. That's awesome. That's actually, I've got a buddy that's a Senators fan, and he thinks that is awesome about Dadonov, about what's happening there. He thinks it's so weird.
And how is he feeling?
What?
Like, what's he thinking right now?
Exactly.
You think he's motivated to play for them right now?
He's playing tonight, isn't he? I think
he's playing
tonight.
on the number one line.
Yeah. So what I'm on, Jimmy, I'm on the first period over 1.5.
Okay.
I took it over. I got a little bit greedy when I was in Vegas. I took the over 6.5 in the Florida game, but I also took the over 2.
Right.
And that pushed. But like I said, I mean, they're giving up lots of, as much as they're not scoring themselves, they're also playing really bad defensively. I think it was Logan Thompson in net when I was there at the game. And if it wasn't for some great saves he made, Florida could have been up 1 or 2 in that first period, So I think Nashville's been playing well too. And I think that I just can't count on Vegas to play a good defensive game. So, I think if Vegas wins this game, they're going to have to score lots of goals. And I don't think they're capable of it. So I like your play there. I love the plus money. And I'm going to go with the over 1.5 in the first period in this game. That's actually going to be my best bet on the show. Nashville and Vegas over 1.5 first period. Forget the full game. Let's make some money early on in this game. In the first period, we'll take 20 minutes, try and make some money here. Late night game, degenerate action, 10 p.m. Eastern time, 7 o'clock out on the left coast. So what's your best bet here, Jimmy? What can you give the viewers here? Oh, you're muted.
I'm going to go back to the first game we talked about, and I'm taking the Tampa Bay Lightning.
All right. I like that as well. I love when we're on the same page when it involves the Bruins, especially when we're fading the Bruins together. That's always a good thing. So
Bruins fans don't like me.
Yeah, living in Mass and going against them every now and then. Hey, you can't bet on them every game, but I just wanted to say, I'll hand it over to you after, Jimmy, but I just want to say I appreciate everybody for finding their way here. Obviously, we have a very loyal viewership and everyone that comes on the Betcast with us. Ian deserves any vacation time he gets. Ian's a very, very hardworking guy. He's in San Antonio with the Pub Sports crew, and he's actually going to 2 college ball games tonight. So I hope he has several, adult beverages tonight, enjoys himself, and has a good one. So shout out to Ian, our captain of our team. And I definitely miss doing the shows. I was all, you guys wouldn't have wanted me doing shows with the shape I was in when I was out of town. So I one time, actually, I was in Vegas, Jimmy. I walked around this floor I was on for 5, 10, 15 minutes, I swear. And I was on floor 20. I finally decided to be like, am I on the wrong floor? I was on floor 8. I was scanning my key card on several doors for about 15 minutes. I was on floor 8. So anyway, you guys wouldn't have wanted to have me on the show while I was in Vegas.
No idea how funny you bring that up. When I was just in Montreal, the same thing happened to me, because what happened was the first night I was there, I stayed at the Holiday Inn downtown. And then the next 5 nights I was there, I was supposed to be an Airbnb. Place turned out to be like a crack house, and I ended up out $400, but that's a whole nother story. Yeah, and the guy's asking me for money for damage now, even though I didn't stay there. But that's a whole other story. The Murphy's Law adventure that I've been on the last 6 days. Anyhow, I get to the other hotel. It was like a Marriott or something on the other side of town. And I still had in my mind that because I was staying in 1109 in the Holiday Inn, I ended up 809 in the Marriott.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept going to 1109.
1109, yeah.
Weekend, I did it like 4 times. And so finally some dude opens the door. He's like, dude, this isn't your room.
Did you tell him the story or no? You just said sorry?
I just was like, sorry.
My bad. Yeah. Anyway, so we'll be back tomorrow on the actual regular Ice Guys channel, Twitter,
Yeah.
everywhere else you can find us, especially on the Hockey Podcast Network. But do us a favor, spread this video around if you can. Tune in tomorrow, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel. We'll try and cash some best bets. Jimmy's on Tampa Bay. I have the first period over with Nashville and Vegas, and it's going to be back. I got the hat on. I got the shitty beard. I got to shower up and get changed and just get my shit together here, Jimmy. I've been all messed up since I got back, but I got my partying out, and it's time to get back to business, man. So it's good to see you. Appreciate all of our viewers, and
yeah,
I guess
thanks
we'll see
everybody.
you guys. Yeah,
thanks for finding us today. We'll talk to you tomorrow.